Boss, if the tests are green, that means there are no bugs, right? A row of green checks and you can ship with a clear conscience, right?
Here's the thing, rookie. I took the rule the mascot must not cover the body text and made it a real automated test, not a prose note, a running gate, and yet the exact same defect, the mascot covers the text, shipped 3 times untouched. The first 2 times a human said I checked every scene and called it green. The third time I'd made it a gate, and the gate itself went green on its own. It never once turned red all the way to ship. The reason? The test measured the text brightness, not its position. Today we dissect a test that's green and still lying. Take this home and you'll be able to tell your C's real green from a stand-in wearing green.
Hold on. Last time you said prose rules rot, so make them a gate that fails. I took that seriously. So a gate means safe, I figured.
Right, that was last time's conclusion. Writing never do this again in a doc doesn't fix it. So encode the behavior where it's decided, a default or a gate that stops the build. Correct. Half correct.
Half?
Today's the sequel. I did exactly what I said. I wrote a check if the mascot covers the body text, stopped the build and folded it into the build. Not prose, running code. And what do you think happened?
You made it a gate, so it stopped, right?
It didn't stop. The first 2 times a human declared no overlap in any scene and it went green. And the third time I'd made it a gate and the gate went green brazenly. The same bug reached viewers 3 times. Last time was right to say make it a gate, but it wasn't enough. I made it a gate and it still didn't work because the kind of gate was wrong. Turning prose into a gate isn't enough. If that gate doesn't measure the real thing, the green is a lie.
Wasn't measuring the real thing. The gate was watching the mascot must not hide the text, wasn't it?
That's the crux. The condition we actually wanted to protect, the invariant, is this: the body text never drops down below the mascot. It's about the text position. But what the code I actually wrote measured was this. See, position isn't measured anywhere. What it measures is how many bright pixels are under the mascot. More than 60 bright pixels and it decides the text is hidden. 60 or fewer, green. So this gate measured brightness, a different number in place of the text position.
But text is bright. So if it's not hidden, there are lots of bright pixels. And when it's hidden, they drop. That's roughly right, no?
Roughly is the trap. Let's call the number the gate actually measures the stand-in. The real thing we want, the invariant, is position. The stand-in is brightness. Normally, when things go well, the two move together. Text sitting up top is bright. Hidden, it goes dark. So the stand-in looks like it's working, and when you write the test it passes and you relax. We watch only the normal times when the stand-in moves with the real thing and we convince ourselves this test works. But when things break, the two can move in opposite directions. That's where the green lie is born. The scary part of a stand-in is that it agrees with the real thing 9 times out of 10, so no one suspects it. The remaining 1 in 10, exactly when it breaks, it quietly betrays you.
Move in opposite directions? You mean the text is hidden, but the bright pixels don't drop?
Worse, when the text is hidden, the bright pixels drop. That's the problem. When the semi-transparent mascot overlaps the body text, the text sinks dark, we call it washout. The text brightness falls, so the bright pixel count the gate is counting falls too. It drops below 60, so the gate goes green. You see the hell of it. The worse the overlap gets, the darker the text, the fewer the bright pixels, and the more the gate's number falls to the safe side. The more broken it is, the deeper the green. The gate went green not because the text was protected, but because the bug blinded the gate.
It looks safest at its very worst.
And there's one more way through. This gate only counts the pixels right under the mascot's shape, it's alpha. But the mascot isn't the only thing darkening the screen. A dim overlay in the 4 corners sinks the text too. And that dimming happens not under the mascot, but outside it. The gate doesn't even go look there. A stand-in that measures the wrong place will miss the lie happening right next door, even while it measures its own spot correctly. This is the third one, after I'd made it a gate. The body is washed out and dark, the axis labels and numbers unreadable. And yet the gate right next to it went green. Clear under the mascot, pass. The time before that, something even more vivid shipped. A line of code explaining, if it fails, stop the whole build. Its first character sank into the mascot and vanished, and the screen read YS exit as it shipped. A broken line in a video about things breaking. That was still around where a human eyeballed it and said I checked. The third time, I handed that checking to the gate, and the stand-in number went green without blinking.
But that's because it measured brightness, right? Fix it to actually measure position, and the green lie is gone, right?
Here's the thing. There's a second kind of green lie, and this one is nastier. From here in the back half I'll show you that second kind. Without it, even a gate that measures position will fool you again. On another video, this happened. A certain explainer slide, the payoff slide showing the self-reported length versus the measured length, the punchline of that whole video. It was supposed to be on screen for about 20 seconds, but in the build output it never appeared on screen at all. 0 seconds, gone entirely.
Gone? And the gate?
16 scenes, all 16 green. But that one was empty inside. Not a single line of dialogue assigned to it, no pixels to inspect. If there's nothing to count, then 0 is 60 or fewer, and of course it passes. Nothing there, so pass. In math this is called vacuous truth. An empty truth. The gate said there is no hidden text, correct, because there wasn't a single character there.
Pass because there's nothing? That's the same as not inspecting at all.
Exactly. Kind 1, the stand-in number moves backwards, so a false green. Kind 2, the input is empty, so it inspects nothing and gives a false green on the surface. Both are the same clean green checkmark. Inside, one's been blinded, the other's empty. Green isn't proof the condition held. Green might be proof the test's eyes were shut.
This isn't just about your mascot videos, is it? I'm starting to feel like I've seen this in my own tests.
You should have. This hides in every green in your C. Same pathology. The test measures as stand-in number instead of the real invariant. 80% coverage only measures that lines of code were executed. Call a function, throw away the return value, write not a single assert. The line still runs, coverage goes up, green, but it guarantees nothing. This is the same stand-in as brightness earlier. Executed is the stand-in for verified correct. A test that swallows the exception in a try and passes without asserting anything is the same, green. A snapshot that auto-updates and matches every time, green. A mock dependency measures the mood of the mock, not production. Every one of them. The stand-in number goes green, and no one watches the real thing. And an empty test, empty input, a 0 result, same as the vacuous pass earlier. It quietly gives you nothing there, so pass. A test that loops over a list. What if that list happens to be empty? The asserts inside never run once and the test slips through, still green.
So counting the number of greens is meaningless?
It's not the number of greens, it's what each green guarantees. If you can't say in one sentence what a single green protects, that green is probably measuring a stand-in.
So how do I fix it? Tell me in a form I can paste straight into my own test.
One at a time. 1. Fill in the blank in if this test is green, _ is guaranteed. If you can't, the test protects nothing. 2. Stop measuring the stand-in and assert the invariant itself. In my case, not 60 or fewer bright pixels, but the bottom coordinate of the body text is above this line. If you want to measure position, measure position. 3. Never let empty input go green. 0 results, empty list, null. That's not passed, it's couldn't inspect. Tip it to fail closed. When in doubt, drop it.
What's number 4? Encode it in the build, not memory.
I confirmed there's no overlap, and I wrote it in a doc, both rot by the next run. Human memory and prose notes have no guarantee of being read. In fact, every one of my overlaps shipped after someone declared, I checked every scene for overlap. The I checked evaporates by the next build. So step 4 is dropping steps 1 through 3 into code. The build runs itself every time and stops if it fails. Only when no human has to remember and no doc has to be opened does the lesson become permanent. 1 through 3 are what to measure. 4 is where to put it so it doesn't rot. That's the prescription, and there's one thing I have to be honest about.
Something to be honest about.
These 4 steps, I wrote them all down properly in my own lessons doc. Measure geometry, not brightness. Make empty scenes fail. Fold it into the build. And as of recording this video, exactly one of them is actually wired in.
Just one? The rest?
Making an empty scene fail, the one that kills the second kind of lie, I implemented. It's right there in the build code, but the first kind, replacing brightness with coordinates, the code still measures brightness. The prescription still waiting inside the doc. Folding the gate into the build to stop it automatically, still a command I type by hand. Notice it? This is exactly today's story itself. Wrote the lesson and the behavior changed are 2 different events. I dissected the green lie and the fix for it still can't go green in my own build. It's the same disease, 1 level up. So today I won't pretend at a clean conclusion. I'll show you the seams and all.
So what we take home is, the next step past, make it a gate.
Right, last time was right. Turn prose into a gate. Today we add 1 line on top. Green only means something when that gate measures the real invariant and is actually wired in. Green that measures a stand-in is just a green checkmark stuck onto prose. Watch last time's video, rules rot, only defaults hold, and you'll see where to put a lesson so it works. Next, we do the opposite. An overstrict schema so tight it rejects even the correct things. The exact flip side of today. Is your green real or a stand-in? Just one today. Ask one of your tests, if this is green, what does it guarantee? Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.